What's up guys, Draco here, talking about microscopes. Yeah, I did a weird intro last week to see how it went, and I was like, yeah, I'll just stick with my regular thing because it's easier. But yeah, microscopes are very cool, in my opinion. It's awesome that we can just see things that are, like, so tiny. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at using them, because, like, the light messes with my eyes if it's a light microscope. I know there's other kinds, like an electron microscope exists. But also, I don't take any sciences anymore, so yeah, I bright lights give me headaches, so yeah. Same with like presentations, like you have just like a completely white background, it's like great. My hairband's not where it's meant to be. And it's like cool. I just can't see anything now. But yeah, it's really just a shame. Because like I just can't look at a board for an extended period of time if it's like a really bright board with a completely white background. And yeah. And I'm like, so when I do presentations, I often will make the background like a slightly muted, like yellow or green, stuff like that. It's just way easier on the eyes, in my opinion, and it's not very hard to do. Now, obviously, depending on the people you're presenting to, you might need to do white to try and make it look more like professional. And then also, if you know that everyone there's fine with it, then it's like, yeah, why not? But like, it doesn't hurt to make it a more muted colour. That's just a bit helpful. I don't know if muted's the right word here. I have this thing where like I often use words I don't fully know what they mean. I try to use the simplest word I can in all scenarios. But I do know that also, like, if you phrase things with fancier, more intelligent words, even if you don't really have a point, people are like, this guy's on something. Same like the word micro and macro. If I add micro and macro to an argument, it just adds so much to that argument, even though you really don't have a point. But like, I see this is a micro example of a macro problem, and it's like, what? That doesn't mean anything. I think macro is way better than micro because it actually means nothing. Macro is just a thing you can see with the visible, like a thing that's visible with the human eyes. I'm just like, wow, my eyes are macro, and it's like, well, they're pretty small. No, but you can see them. And it's just like, if there's certain things that you'll be like, oh, that's micro, and it's like, it's actually, well, you can see it. It's just not very big, but you can see it. I just realised how that sounds. I'm going to move on. But yeah, microscopes are, yeah, moving swiftly on. Microscopes are great. The fact you can just see, like, what would you do without a microscope? You would just not have any idea about so many different. Would we have found the? I'm sure we would have found the atom some other way without a microscope, but I don't know how. But like, I also don't know much about, like, I was going to say physics. It's more chemistry. I don't know much about either. What was the guy's name? Avogadro. Like, how did he find that number? Did he just make something up and then, like, oh yeah, that's definitely 26 million. That's not 26. 10 to the power of 26. No, 10 to the power of 23. 10, some big number that he probably didn't count. I don't know what the number is because, again, I don't take chemistry and I don't really care. It's like, oh yeah, this is the exact amount of atoms in a mole. I'm like, no, it's not. He didn't count this. I mean, it might be, but I don't know how he found it. Did he even find it? I swear someone else found it. I don't really know. I also don't really care. So, I should have chosen a less intelligent topic in hindsight. I was thinking about microscopes, thinking they're pretty cool, and then I was like, actually, I don't know anything about this. I can't really discuss it. Whereas, like, I can discuss, like, a commune, because that's not very hard to discuss, like last episode. But yeah, microscopes are very cool. Also, like, I don't think other interesting, other than like micro and macro, there aren't many terms you can just chuck in to a sentence and just, because what I said earlier, like, oh, this is a micro example of a macro problem or something. You can just say this is a small example of the bigger problem. Like, But saying micro and macro makes it sound like I'm saying something actually intelligent, even though that just makes less sense than just saying like, oh, it's a pretty small example of a big problem. So yeah, I don't know. I think that the thing with using intelligent words is if a person doesn't know what it means, then like you just lose the entire flow of conversation. Both like if you say it and then it doesn't really mean what you think it means, and if someone else says it and then you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, bro. Like dichotomy is a word that everyone vaguely knows what it means. But if someone said like, oh, that's an interesting dichotomy, I'm like, I don't actually know what dichotomy means. But I feel like I'm trying to think of there's not a really good example of a word that I don't know because I don't know it. But I think dichotomy is about as close as I'll get. Like, I don't really know what it means, but I can use it in conversation. But there's also a chance that I might be wrong, and then it's like, great. Now what? Now where do we go from this? But yeah, like I mean, also usually you can just like assume what a person's saying. If it's not a very important thing, I usually wouldn't interrupt a person. If they're just telling me a story and they use one word I don't know, I'll be like, okay, I'll just guess. And if I don't know, it doesn't affect me very much. Unless it's like an important sounding story. But then if someone's trying to like teach me something actually somewhat important, I'll be like, yeah, I'll listen. And then I'll question like, hey, what does skibidi-bow mean? Again, it's hard to give an example of a word that I don't know because I, by definition, don't know it. Which is why it was also hard for me to discuss microscopes. I don't know why I chose this topic because I can't be like, oh yeah, this cell is really cool because I don't know much about cells. Or like this specific microscope because I don't know any types of microscope other than there's a light microscope, but I don't know like a fancy thing about it. So yeah, microscopes are very cool though. I hella respect them. And I hella respect like everyone who does science. I could never. But like, if you do science and you enjoy it, good on you. Hella support it. Yeah, I don't know much about science, but you know, it's. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I support people. I think interests are great, and like, I don't always have the same interests as a person, but you know, like I will respect it wholeheartedly. I think also like there's a theory that the reason our brains are a bit smaller than like a previous, I don't know if it's a relative or ancestor or what of like humans, but the theory is basically because we were outsourcing information. Like, okay, you learn all the science stuff, you learn all the history stuff, you learn all the math stuff. Then we didn't have as much brain space because we all specialized and then could collectively pull information together. I don't know where I heard this from. It might have just been like an Instagram reel. It might have been TikTok or something. Well, I don't have TikTok, but it might have been an Instagram reel that reposted a TikTok. It might have been something on Reddit. It might have been like an actual historical source, but I'm saying don't go out and quote me without actually double checking this. Because I also don't know the details and I don't really know if it was a reputable source. But yeah. And I think that when you're a kid, you're like, oh, people know everything when you're older, and it's like, and then you see this one person who just like knows so much about different subjects, and like, oh, this person's a genius. And then as I've grown up, I've been like, here's the thing, I have a niche, and I know quite a bit about the few niches I have, and then everything else I don't know much about. But that's completely fine. That's actually sort of how we're meant to be, and how I want to be. Now, you'll obviously meet some people who are geniuses, like, and just know loads of trivia. But then it's like, well, do I want to, like, do I care that much about being that person? If you want to be that person, also, respect you. I hella respect it. But if you're willing to just have one niche, and just be like, yeah, that's my niche, that's good on you. And that niche doesn't even have to be something very academic. It could just be like, you're really good at cooking. It could be you're really good at a sport. It could just be like, oh, you're a really social and friendly guy. Your niche could be the really social guy who gets all these people together. It's like, hey, what's up, dude? We should go party, and then I can introduce you to this guy, and he can talk to you about that. And that'll be great, because you're besties. Yas. I don't know how to be social, as you can see. Yeah, I'm a very introverted person. I like talking to people, but I'm very introverted, and I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you for a bit, then I need to recharge, okay? So yeah. Anyway, this video has not really been about microscopes, but still, if you do science, hell respect it, keep going, I fully support you, and I hope you enjoy it. If you don't do a science, and you do something else, also, hell respect it, and hope you keep going. Bye!